On today's episode of the Real Recovery Podcast, episode number 83, we are honored to welcome Joe, whose story is one of raw honesty and resilience. From the grips of addiction and its destructive cycles to the moment he embraced recovery, Joe shares the powerful turning points that brought him hope, healing, and a renewed sense of purpose. His journey highlights the challenges of relapse, the courage it takes to begin again, and the transformative impact of finding community and faith in recovery. This heartfelt conversation is a reminder that no matter how many times we stumble, it's always possible to rise, rebuild, and live a life of meaning.
Hello, and welcome to the Real Recovery Podcast. I'm Julie, your co-host. On this journey of healing and transformation, together with my co-host Peter, we dive into the heart of recovery, sharing stories that resonate with courage and inspiration.
That's right, Julie. Each episode is a new chapter in this vast narrative of recovery, and we're honored to bring them to you. But keep in mind the perspectives you'll hear are for informational purposes only and may not reflect the views of the podcast or our partners.
Indeed, while these conversations can be a powerful part of your recovery toolkit, they are not substitute for professional medical advice. We encourage you to seek guidance from your healthcare provider for any treatment-related decisions.
And if you're facing an immediate crisis, or if you just need to talk to someone who understands, don't hesitate to call the Recovery Crisis Line at 503-223-8569. That number is also on our website. Help is available 24/7.
Now let's begin our episode
Of recovery, real recovery.
Well, welcome to the Real Recovery Podcast. It has been a week.
Yeah.
This is Julie.
This is Peter.
And we are with my friend Joe from New York.
Woo-hoo!
I am so happy you're here. I'm actually even more happy for your friendship. I really am. So I have been this weekend in the hospital from swallowing my crown Thursday night, Friday night to the meeting in person to see Joe for the very first time ever.
No.
Saturday, we're at the walk, the recovery walk. Saturday night, celebrating Dave E., who's been on our show's 60th birthday. And Sunday, here with you. It's been a week. End.
It's like we need the weekdays to have a weekend.
Honestly, I'm really looking forward to sitting at my desk tomorrow, for 8 hours. Yeah. So it's good. So welcome.
Well, welcome.
Thank
Glad
you
you're
so
here.
much. I appreciate it.
And
It's great to be here.
I've heard about you, but I've never met you. So this is awesome.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me at your home.
Oh, no
As well.
problem. It's a Studio H, as we call it.
Peter's
Studio
house. Studio H.
I love it. I love it.
So, Joe, like I told you, don't be nervous. It's just a conversation. There is no wrong. I'm just telling you, we've heard everything in every which way. You can say fuck, which I love. I don't do it all the time.
There's
but
no FCC here.
Yeah, I love that. Can't say it at work. There is a P, you see. But yeah, I think our relationship really grew when we were both going through work struggles.
Absolutely.
I was ruined during that time. And you were a big strength to me. And I think it just shows it doesn't matter how long you're sober, right?
Mm-hmm.
Difficulties come up.
Yeah.
I think it's how you handle them and grow from them.
Life happens.
Absolutely. I think, over 3 years ago is when I began to meet folks by Zoom at the extended family. And because of my schedule in New York, and I managed to hop on those meetings every night. And I was so grateful. And Julie, you have been a rock for me beyond belief, because I think we went, like we said, similar things together, but you've connected with me so well. And the welcome was amazing. And I just felt...
I love our after meetings the best.
Yes. The parking lot.
The parking lot is amazing. Amazing. And it's usually with David from Australia. And he, oh my God, is a riot. A real riot. I guess tell us how you got to AA. What led up to it.
Yeah.
I know, like me,
Yeah.
you're Catholic. Like
Yeah.
me, you don't have any problems with the church. Me neither.
Yeah.
I went to Catholic school and I actually liked it.
Yeah, it is interesting because being gay, I hear a lot of gay men and lesbians and say, oh my gosh, I was tainted beyond belief. It wasn't easy in Catholic school in the Bronx where I grew up because some of the nuns were pretty intense. But when I moved to the burbs in New York, it was a whole different kind of scenario. But I think it was because of my mom, who really was pretty spiritual more than anything else. So when I got into the rooms, it was almost a no-brainer for me because I always had this level of faith or spirituality or something there.
Mm-hmm.
Very different from how I was raised Catholic, but it was there. So I didn't have a big
Same.
hang up, you know.
I did. I was mad. I was so mad. Yeah. It took a minute for me to get to the spiritual part.
Yeah, me too. Because when I was brought up, it was the church that said gay is evil, perverted, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. And so when I got into the program and it's God, 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 I'm like, that's not my deal. No, thank you, you know?
Yeah.
But I was able to come up with my own spirituality and be able to mentally switch, you know, that's my nature. That's my spirit, you know, that's my form of God. Yeah. And it just treated as a word to encompass that.
Yeah, it's almost a framework.
I was mad at God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, how could you let me down? How could I go to prison? Right? How could you take all that money from me? Like, seriously, that's how I felt. And I think later on, I think when something happens to you as a child and whatnot, how could you let that happen to me? So, yeah. But I don't have any hangups with Catholic school. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved playing sports there.
Yeah, it gave me a foundation.
Me too.
Educationally and connections to people and things like that. And when I got to AA, I remember those early meetings, and my sobriety date is February 3rd, 2008. When I got to the early meetings, I would hear people struggling. And I thought back a lot, the idea of Catholics thinking and being so against homosexuality, being gay, et cetera. And I thought, well, yeah, that's handwritten somewhere. That's not what I believe. Exactly. And that's not the God I have in my life today. I didn't logically know that. I think it took a while, like you said, Julie, to get there.
It does. It took, you know, I'm slower at everything. I'm just telling you. It just takes me a minute, you know? Yeah. Or a year or two.
Yeah, I think part of, for me, growing up, I'm the youngest of 5, and the other 4 got married. And it was like, okay, you know, I guess that's what I'm supposed to do without logically thinking life through. And I did get married to a woman, was married almost 8 years, dated for 7.5 or so. Wow. Yeah. And it was not a loving relationship, not only because I was gay and hiding, it was just not a loving relationship. And it was interesting when I think back to childhood, my mom kept us together pretty well. My dad, definitely alcoholic, a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I witnessed, right? Let's say, but I didn't witness as much as my older siblings did. But the verbal stuff and the mental stuff and the kind of reactions he had to things were there. And in fact, what's kind of interesting is, you know, growing up, I was like, I do not want to be that way. Going to be very different.
Same.
Not going to be like that. I know I'm not going to be like that. And I'm going to do everything I can not to be that way. And here I am, which is interesting. And I knew there were options early on, but it took me till I was 47 or 8 to get here.
Wow.
But you got here.
Yeah.
But I got here. And that's, and I knew something wasn't right. You know, I knew that I needed help. I knew that, and I kept thinking, well, this is what people do. That was my intellectual mind blocking me. You know, the emotions were there, right? I knew that something was wrong. I felt it. But the mind was like, no, you're good. So I just shut it off. But I think growing up, there was a lot of happy times with alcohol, flying around, extended family, just like our meeting. But family would come over every weekend, like 30, 40 people, every Saturday, bring instruments over to the house.
Wow.
Dancing,
That's
fun.
Cool.
It was great. It was great. So as a kid living in the Bronx, part of it was like, there was this kind of magical time I felt.
No, I love that.
Right. But I never thought about alcohol being kind of, well, it's food and alcohol. Italian American, right? So
I think as a kid, you don't see that. You're seeing the music, the fun. We don't see the drinking, because it was in my face as a kid. And I was just like, yeah, we're all going to be at my grandparents'. Hell yeah,
Yeah.
And every event would end up in a fight with my mom and my grandfather, because they were exactly alike. But he would always tell me, Julie, don't worry, I love you. And I was like, okay, bye.
As long as you got the confirmation there.
He said it to me all the time.
That's
and so
great.
I was like, not a problem for me.
I love it.
Yeah. But I love the big celebrations.
Yeah. And what's interesting is they got even bigger on the holidays. And both sides of the family, my mom's side, my dad's side. But, this pattern of things with my dad, I was very aware of as a kid. At points, not coming home, like from Wednesday or Thursday night. He would stay out, come home late, go back out the next day, weekends, go out with friends, and then get drunk at home. And used to play, I guess, the Jimmy Roselli comes to mind, an Italian singer. He used to play these LPs and sing, screaming. He played guitar. And it was interesting because at a point I'm like, he's a kind person when he drinks. He's calmer. He's communicative. He throws some cash at me once in a while. So it felt comfortable, right? Until it wasn't. Until I saw another side to him, angry, etc. But again, when he would go out, I would be like, oh, this is good because I'm calmer. I noticed I was calmer at home with my mom. The other siblings had gone by then since I was the youngest. But then when he was there was this tension constantly. When he was sober, actually. No talking really around the dinner table when there was no partying going on the weekends.
Oh, wow.
Very rigid. Comb your hair, get to the table, sit up straight. And then the weekends were like a free-for-all with the drinking. So it was a very confusing kind of childhood, I guess I could say.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And I can't say that there was horrible physical abuse, but the emotional and stuff was there. It was there. And it became kind of a point where I'm like, okay, these are things I don't want to do. Well, it wasn't so easy to just say it and not act that way myself. So at points as I grew up, I would have my drinking days. But what's interesting is my parents divorced when I was probably 13 or 14. And in, I guess, the Catholic, Italian, whatever, it was kind of unheard of, really, going to be 65. And in the community we lived, at least, it was kind of like, you just don't do that. But it was such a relief for me at that time. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
I was really relieved that my dad left and remarried. I'm going to say a few days after. It seemed like that. I don't know, but it was very close.
Whoa.
Yeah. Divorce came right away. It had been planned, I guess. And it was probably not a few days, but in my head. And I tried really hard as a teen, still not to act out, except hormones are raging, right? So I was 13, 14. The drinking started, whatever. But I'm going to say it was, I don't know, I guess now I know it's controlled drinking. It was just trying things out. I didn't get wrecked or shit-faced at points at all until later on in life, actually. And
I didn't drink.
What's that?
I didn't drink.
You didn't drink at all?
No, my mom was a bartender.
Wow.
And she used to parade me into the bar, and I had to look perfect, right? And I just remember all these men smelling like alcohol, and it was gross. And I promised myself, oh, I am not going to drink like these motherfuckers for real. And so I think really that's how I took the wrong turn, was I was so insistent that I'm not going to drink. So I never, the meth snuck up because I'm not going to drink. Maybe it would have been slower or easier, but I just was so against fucking alcohol. Yeah, which is crazy.
When you say that, and I think the same thing, it was so extreme that I think that extremeness was like, yeah, it's genetic, but I think separating so much or shutting myself off from it was like, yeah, I really want this now, without logically thinking it through.
Well, and probably when it's around your family, it's okay. For me, because I didn't live with my parents, I lived with a nanny till I was 11. It took me a long time to understand. My mom was kind of like your dad. She was really outgoing, when she was drinking, she was a lot of fun. She always gave me cash because she was a bartender. She always had tips. I earned money for everything. And if the other kids had $1 at the ice cream truck, I had 5.
Wow.
No, and I would get 3 ice creams and put 2 in the freezer, for real. But there was also a point when it switched and she went from being Miss Congeniality to fucking evil.
Wow.
Yeah, and then putting her hands on me, and I didn't know what to expect or when that turned. I didn't even know what caused it. And the next day, like, she would ground me for not doing something and I wouldn't even know what, right? And so I think I'm grounded the next day, and she's like, "Why aren't you outside?" And I'd be like, "I can go outside," but I wouldn't say it. And I'd be like, "Okay, I'm out," you know? Yeah. And so it was so confusing to me because I didn't understand alcoholism. I didn't understand that was the cause until later on, but it was very confusing. And everybody in my family drank and smoked cigarettes. Like, smoking cigarettes
Same. Yeah.
was like a rite of passage. Like, I have a picture of my family at a holiday, and everybody except for my Aunt Patty, who is still alive, let me say, at 85, had a cigarette in their mouth. Yeah.
Amazing. That connection between the smoking, the alcohol, it all went together. And
Yeah.
you're right. I hadn't thought of that.
I didn't
till now.
get it. I really did not get it, except for I just didn't want to be like that. It was crazy.
See, in my family, we were like told no, not allowed to have anything. And because of that, I think that enticed me to try to go for it because it was a forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I got to see what that's all about. So that's how I got started, you know?
Yeah, it's flipped, right? It's that, you know, I'm going to attack it because I want to try this because it sounds like it could be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting because when I even think back, part of it was I don't want to be like this. And then I'm in, high school and I was a designated driver. Whoever knew that would ever happen in my life. And yet I would still drink, but probably not as much as my friends.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was the only one with a car, broken down car, but nevertheless, I worked, had a car.
I had a car too.
Yeah.
And
so
my mom, I think, knowing, because she got in a few car accidents drinking. And the funniest thing is she had a driver's license in New Hampshire and she got caught with a DUI. So they took it. So back in the day, we weren't computer savvy like we are now. So she went to Massachusetts and got her license there.
Okay.
Got her license taken in Massachusetts and went to Maine and got her license in Maine. And one time we're pulled over by the police and she pinches me really hard, like so hard I started crying. And the police officer comes up to the window and he's like, "What's wrong with her?" And she's like, "She's sick, and I'm sorry." And he's like, "Okay." And he let us go. And she's like, "That worked." And I didn't know. And I'm like, got a bruise from this pinch. I don't even know what the fuck is going on. I'm little at this time, like maybe 9, and she was a genius. Like,
she knew how to navigate all these systems.
Yeah. In Oregon, she crashed her car and she flipped it on Southwest Barnes Road by St. Vincent's, that curve. And she paid a driver that was going by to get her out of the car. My stepdad went and got the car and he was like, "You're not allowed to drive home from work anymore," because she would drink after work.
Oh.
And so she lectured me and she was like, "If you're ever drinking and you drive, you will lose your car." And my car was everything because it got me away from her.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously. And I got to do everything with my car. And so I never drunk and drive.
Wow.
Yeah. We were at graduation party up at Rose Gardens.
Oh.
We were up there and I had a beer. And I called and said, "I probably shouldn't drive my car." And she was like, "You were drinking." I was like, "I had a beer." And I was like, "And I called you like you said." And she was like, and I was like, "And you can't take the car."
So you knew.
Yeah, I've never drunk and drive.
Wow.
Not once in my whole life.
That's pretty amazing.
I've been pretty stoned and drove. Okay. I have rolled a blunt in the car and in the passenger side and done a lot of other things, but I was so scared to drink and drive. Yeah. And I hear that story in AA all the time. You know, you don't know where your car is in the morning.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
that happened many, many times to me. Rentals,
Really?
beyond belief. Prescription eyeglasses, which are bifocals or whatever they are, but $700 pair of glasses.
I lose those now, sober Joe. Peter, how many times have I left my glasses here?
True.
I do it all the time.
That is so funny. Yeah, just those moments of time when I think back, I drove drunk all the time. New York City to the suburbs, when I traveled to Florida, rented cars. The next day, I'm like, where the hell's the car?
Wow.
And slowly finding them. Yeah, I think for me, I think the most critical thing I realized in recovery was I could look back and laugh, but I also know how important it is to remember those times, like we learned in the program.
Right.
The idea is you don't have to dwell on it, but boy, those yets are still there.
Yeah.
And I want to be really aware because it's the social for me. Yes, being around, coming out as a gay man after being married, a lot of that.
How was that?
That was
Being Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
Being married.
Yeah.
How was that?
I'll jump to this and say, I was so angry at my dad. He did not come to the wedding. I did invite his family, except for like maybe 4 relatives. And I was really proud of myself.
And this is the woman that you were married to for 8 years?
Yeah. And what's interesting about that is after getting divorced, my ex-wife met a man and I had a suspicion that she did. And I did all this research, found out, and she still denied it. I was so relieved she met someone because it gave me the chance then not to, because I didn't experiment at all with men. I was 20 something. So I had no idea. And then I dated a woman for a year after. Thank God for therapy.
Do you think you did that because that's what you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you asked that, Julie, because it was more than repressed feelings. Like I started looking at men on the beach, like when I was with my wife at the time, right? What the hell's going on? The best man, who's still a close friend of mine, is married to his husband for, I don't know, decades, was the best man in my wedding. And at a point at the church, I looked at him and I'm like, you think I should be doing this? And I wasn't out to him. And I was just so afraid. He's like, now you're asking me? So years later, he's like, of course I knew you were gay. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? He goes, hello, what was I supposed to say? He goes, and if I said that to you, you would have been so afraid because I just knew how fearful you were about the whole thing, about your guilt. And you saw what I went through growing up with my own family as a Jewish kid.
Oh my God.
Young, he was the oldest of 4 boys. He goes, and I knew we were close, but you saw me and what I went through and the abuse I went through because of that you did not want to know. He said, you didn't want to hear it from me. You didn't want to hear it. And, I think then coming out later on in my 30s, still petrified and going to gay bars. It was like, I said to my therapist, what the hell do I do? I live in the suburbs in New York. Like
I
this.
love gay bars, though.
Yeah, I mean, I still
it's my
do.
favorite.
I still do. To dance.
Exactly.
You dance.
Yes.
That's the best part of it
Can
for
I
me.
tell you, for me, dancing with a gay man, right? I don't have to worry about you hitting on me. You can just dance. And it was like the best thing. At the City nightclub, Peter knows, my favoriteest thing was to dance. I just wanted to dance all night long. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's great stuff when you could do it sober.
Yeah.
It's so much better. I couldn't remember anything from those nights,
Oh, yeah. I had many of those.
Sometimes I'm jealous of that. I'm being honest with you. Sometimes I wish I didn't have all the memories. I kind of wish I wanted to be a drunk bitch that didn't remember anything because I remember everything. And remembering some of those bad moments, you have to process that, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you don't feel too pretty about it, that's for sure.
No, it's absolutely true. Thinking about those times when the drinking got progressive. So it took a while, but I wouldn't have the normal 2 or 3 drinks. I'd have like 5 drinks. And we're talking vodka on the rocks and other stuff. Yeah. I mean, martinis later on, like tons of them. Who remembered? And then 2 for 1s, 3 for 1s.
Did you drink Manhattans, Joe?
I did.
Those are the nastiest
They are
gasoline shit.
very.
My mom drank them, and I would get the cherry. And I would have to take the cherry and dip it in the Coke to get that gasoline off. Yeah.
At a point, you wonder, why was I drinking? Like, what was the benefit? I thought it was cool. But it also relaxed me to be in a gay environment.
Right.
It relaxed me to go to gay bars. I felt like I was myself suddenly till I wasn't. And again, it took a good number, about 8 years maybe before the blackouts really began. And then I met my ex in Florida on a vacation who I had known as a friend, but I'd go down there a lot in Fort Lauderdale, et cetera. And we were together 10 years, long distance, monogamous.
Wow.
We saw each other every other weekend. I had a job that provided me with that opportunity at a university. And back then flights were really cheap, I guess.
Yeah.
But we really did that kind of back and forth. He would come up, I'd go down. And then at a point, I was still obviously drinking heavily. And we were together. When we were together, the drinking was really bad. We both had no problem banging down many drinks, et cetera. So the weekend always got kind of screwed up in a lot of ways. And at a point, my family loved him. And at a point, my sister and her husband would come to meet us in the city, Manhattan. And by the time that he would get into Manhattan, I'd get off work, he was trashed already. And I have to send him back to a hotel, send him off. And then I stayed with my family, got trashed myself, and then met him there. So this became like a cycle. And the last few years were not great, obviously. And then at a point, again, blackouts were there. They still weren't terrible. Not that I could remember. And then we broke up because he really wanted me to relocate to Florida, and my career was doing well up here. And I did live with him for a year in Florida. I took a leave from the school I'm at, but they offered me an option I couldn't refuse. So I came back to New York, and that ended. But then we reconnected later on after the anger left, and we just got trashed together every time I met him. I stayed with him, trash, nothing, no loving kind of relationship behind the scenes, just drinking buddies. And he was unfortunately also, I suspected, on top of the drinking, doing some prescription drugs, which he got easily. And to bring it forward, it's unfortunate. We lost communication. I saw him a lot down there, but he didn't recognize me. He was long gone, unfortunately. He did pass away of this disease, drinking and prescription drugs. And I really loved him when we were together and after, as a friend and someone I really did trust. But I dated after that, and the drinking was really bad by then, even worse. And the blackouts were just unbelievable. Falling, waking up bruised, not remembering. Leather bars in Florida, New York, waking up with like these drink tickets in my pocket and thinking, like, why the hell didn't I spend why didn't I get these free drinks? Like, what's wrong with my brain? Like, I would go home and I'd be like, shit, I have like 10 free drinks and you can't use them next time. You got to use them the day. Like, what was I thinking? And not remembering driving home at most of it and then saying, oh my God, I'm in the car. And I could have taken a train, but I wanted to just drive. And a lot of times it was in the city because there was no gay bar. Really, there was one, but wasn't as much fun. So that just continued for so many years. The drink didn't lose my job. And I'm so grateful that I think back to say somehow I showed up. I have no idea how. I know that I wasn't fooling them, and I'm sure, but I had so many health issues. Like I was on 2 different or 3 different blood pressure medications. I was on some heart medication for palpitations. I was never thinking it had anything to do with alcohol.
Wow. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And they would ask me how much I drank. I'm like, not much. A few drinks here and there and whatever. And I was always praying the blood work would come back okay. And no one ever said, no physician ever said, cardiologist, whatever, like, your blood's out of blood work. I don't know if it was or wasn't. Obviously wasn't. I don't know.
Did they ever, like, in a lot of doctor's appointments now, right?
they'll ask you, there's the standard questions. Do you do recreational drugs, right?
Yeah.
How many drinks a week do you have? And I'll be like 0. Like, and I'm so proud of that. But they never came up.
Back then, because it's like 17 going on 18 years, back then, they probably said how much you drink. They probably said a glass of wine or 2 at night.
Wow.
I probably just fell under the radar, but no physician.
And you had a job.
And I had a job.
And insurance.
Yes, that's right. That's interesting you say that. Kind of never think, but no physician ever said your blood's out of whack. And I'm thinking it had to be at some point.
Right.
Wow.
It had to be at some point. So even now, and I'm in the mental health profession as well, right? I'm like, those are questions that we ask in the profession, right?
Yeah.
But I think more so in the last 20 years, probably. We're more aware. And it wasn't until I think things got so bad, waking up in places like with men, I'm like, who are you? What? Like literally.
That would scare me. Yeah.
And here I grew up seeing so many men die of HIV, knowing about it so well, and yet being so afraid and not so afraid, like just to drink and not really care at that point, whether it was physical health, mental health. And then it just became a thing I had to do to stay, I don't know, balanced. The hangovers all day long, feeling sick. And then by like 3 or 4 o'clock, I'm like, I feel better now. And suddenly,
So let's go get a drink.
Yeah, let's go get a drink.
That's how
It's going to
I
start
remember
over.
those days too. Oh my gosh.
Like this brain just was like.
You're making my stomach nervous just from listening to.
Yeah, right.
So it brings up all the similar
bad
things.
stuff. Even for me, it's like talking
Now you know
about.
how I felt during Davy's share.
It's looking back. It brings fear, brings up fear because I think, oh my gosh, I could never do that again. But
I think it's a healthy fear. I'm going to tell you, because when I hear people's IV drug stories, I'm so scared. Like I'm scared. I am so scared to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am like beyond petrified. And I think it's a healthy fear now. I think it's like, I'm so glad it turns my stomach and that it's not okay. I know that sounds awkward, but for me, like I can remember like, boom.
Not at all. It's not, I think the same thing, Peter, what you're saying is even for me talking about it, I'm like, oh my God.
It is.
Bring up such emotion, but also a physical feeling about it because it wasn't pretty. And I remember one night as driving home, as I'm thinking this through, when we had the old toll booths in New York, which we don't really anymore.
My God. Right? The toll booths.
The toll booths. So I knew a guy, quick story, I knew a guy from a deli who got a position to be a toll booth money collector. And I drove through and I never saw him except this one night. I'm like, oh my God. He's like, is that you, Joe? He said, you don't look good. I will never forget that night. Oh. He goes, are you trashed? I'm like, I'm not in good shape. He's like, you need to pull over somewhere. I'm like, well, where would I remember the whole I was in the blackout until that moment. And he's like, you should go to this wherever. And I pulled over and stopped the car and slept in the car. But that was like a moment. That was toward the end. That was a moment where I'm like, wow, there's somebody's watching over me. And I didn't know what that meant, but I felt that. I don't know if I logically thought that. And it's interesting. I didn't know that I had given him my phone number. And I get a phone call the next day from the guy. And I can't remember his name. And he's like, are you doing okay? I'm like, no, I'm not great. The drinking's really bad. He goes, yeah, you can't be driving anymore when you do that. You should take the trip. Very calmly. Because I was really worried. He said, I was going to see if I could follow up with you even sooner because I was going to see where you parked. Did you park there? But anyway, it was just one of those moments. That was a first moment where someone outside of my family or friends.
And innocently.
And very calmly.
Yeah.
Very calm. I remember that you don't look good and you cannot drive. And I paid attention.
I love that.
That was like one of the moments that I remember really well. It was one of those aha moments we talk about.
I think you're like me too, because we have a lot of similarities. And I think if somebody would have been in your face right? You would have been like, fuck you. And because we get upset about a lot of the same things. And for me, it had to be an easier, softer way too. I'm serious. If I hadn't gone to AA and they weren't so nice, and I'm grateful that we didn't talk about drugs back then in AA. I mean, I know we do now and our meetings open and we talk about everything.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready, I don't think, to talk about that. And AA was so calming to me, listening to the old guys, right?
Yeah,
and their
true.
stories. I loved it. But they were nice. If someone would have been, you have to do this and you have to do that, other than the parole officer, I would have been like, fuck you. You have to stay. Fuck you. I had to come to my own terms and be like, I want to stay. This is okay.
Yeah, I think we are alike that way. If somebody would have told me X, Y, Z, I would have been like, no, I got this, because that's how I grew up. You got this. No, I didn't have it. But if someone put more rules on me, I really would have bolted.
Same.
And even that guy, whose name I can't remember, unfortunately, but
Mr. Toll Booth.
Mr. Toll Booth collector, right? Mr. Money Collector. But those are a few moments and I had these ongoing dialogues with my sister, even, who were really close. And I'm like, I have a drinking problem. She said, well, we all have the predisposition that our brothers, she said, all of us, our sister, it's there. And I said, yeah, I got to do something at some point. So those were conversations over the years that we've had. What's interesting is when I look back to the moments, I think what got me is I had a really bad fall. I took the train. I listened to Toll Booth, man. But I began taking the train more. And the embarrassing moments were moments like waking up past my stop, taking a car service home 2 hours south, because I changed trains to go northbound, thinking I had to go north. And we're talking the suburbs, like it's not, I know it's 17 years ago, but even then it was so remote. It was so remote. Like, how did I get car services home? How did I afford them?
Yeah.
Just credit cards, I guess. But at a point, I remember taking the train home, but I did in an ice and snowstorm. And this was my last drunk. And that was when I got out of the train, ran, because I thought I was missing my stop. And I ran up the steps and went flying backwards and fell back on the tracks. Not on the tracks, I'm sorry, on the platform close to the tracks. And
Of the train?
Of the train. And it was it's a suburban train. So it wasn't a subway or anything like, but still.
People in Oregon don't understand that. But let's just say max. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similar to that. Right. So, and I didn't know, again, the blackout was over at that moment, but I had phone number of a taxi driver. Like, it was 3:00 in the morning, because I used to take a taxi to the train. It wasn't close for work. So I called them. They weren't running because they stop at probably 10. I don't know. Now they probably run a lot more.
They do here.
Yeah, that
all night long.
That's a good thing. Not for the drunk, right? Not for me being in that situation. But he picked me up and he's like, you need to go to the hospital. Another guy, Carl, owned the company. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm fine. Got home and I had a concussion. And the next day I called my sister and I said, listen, I've got to go to the hospital. And I told her what happened. I was bruised up. And she was so gentle with me before we even got there. She goes, I remember doing this too. It was a Saturday morning and I always went to my mom's on a Saturday. So actually what I did was I drove to my mom's. But I did call my sister in advance, who met me there. And I felt miserable. And I did have bruises. Most of them were covered because they were on my arms, back of my head, nothing really on my face, but my mom couldn't see them. That was my main thing. I didn't want her to see anything. And we were helping her a lot because she passed at 104, which is amazing. Last year, I was sober for her and for me. But why I say that is we helped her a lot back then. She had a lot of health issues. My sister was so gentle. She's driving me to the hospital. I said to my mom, I'm not feeling good. I think I have a stomach virus. I felt so sick to my stomach. And my sister's like, it's good you're going to the hospital because you might have a concussion. Very gentle. She's like, it may be time to begin thinking about what you said. and maybe go into a meeting or something. She said, I don't know, but it just may be a good time to start it because I don't want you to die. I don't want you to lose your professional. First, she said, I don't want you to lose your license. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to lose my license either. And all I kept thinking of was my driver's license. And I have a professional license to practice. And I wasn't thinking that at all. I was still going to that place. I don't want to lose my license because if I want to drive and drink, and I don't think I was thinking about that logically at that point, obviously. But I'm like, she's like, no, your professional license. I'm like, oh, that's true. Like it's the first time that it occurred to me. And she said, and I don't want you dead. And she didn't say it with any anger. She goes, I need you around. I love you. I went to the ER. They asked me if I drank. I said no. I said to her on the way there, if they want to take blood, I'm going to say no. They didn't even take blood, which was amazing. They ran a CAT scan, said you probably have a concussion, blah, 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 this and that. But I didn't have another drink after that, but I probably needed to be in treatment because I'm sure I had some DTs. I was sicker than a dog for like 10 days at home. And I was out of work for 3 weeks. And I just said, I have a concussion, got a doctor's note, saw my GP, never mentioned why I had a concussion to the GP, never asked. Well, I said I slipped on ice, which was true.
You are so lucky it wasn't my doctor. I'm just telling you, she asks everything all the time, which is why I stay with her. I'm serious. Like, I told her not to give me prednisone because prednisone, it's a steroid and it makes me so emotional. And I had to go back there and tell her, look, I'm having a mental breakdown again. And so they gave me 4 Xanax to offset the prednisone. And I was like, I really like the Xanax. And she was like, not having that again.
Wow.
Yeah, she's
great.
like all up in it. Yeah, totally.
Well, it's good. She's aware.
Like I said, you got the right doctor or the wrong doctor, but my doctor is like, I've never asked her for a pain medication ever.
Wow.
I fell onto the radar somehow.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew logically, like, right, I didn't want to get the blood work. My doctor didn't say what happened. I just fell on ice. Still didn't know. He never asked the question.
I think you being professional, right? I'm going to tell you that judge a book by its cover. I have spent years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't come out of prison with tattoos. You know what I'm saying? And getting your nails done and looking professional to cover up so many things. So you didn't think I went to prison. You definitely didn't know I was an escort, right? You definitely didn't know I was an escort owner.
Yeah.
Like, I think we can cover up a lot of stuff if we have a look good. I think the people that don't care about their look good, right? It's obvious because I'll be like, they're a hot fucking mess. I'll think it instantly. I'm so judgmental. I really am. Character defect. I'm working on those still, Joe. That book.
Yeah, Drop the Rock. I
Drop
got
the
it.
rock.
I'm
telling
ready to
you,
go
it's my
through it.
life right now.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go through it. You know, what's interesting that you say that, it is true. Because the exterior, even though I may not have looked great, but the exterior was, I was going to work, do my thing, may have fallen on ice. Yep, that happens. So these assumptions, right? If you present, I'm not going to say, well, I don't know what that even means, but if you present right at a level, I never thought of that. Like if you can do that, people not going to ask the questions. Right. So it just occurs to me that maybe we need to dig deeper to help other people. Because I think if someone had reached out gently prior and said, I'm really worried about you, beside family.
No, I agree with you. You know, when you said you didn't want your mom to know.
Oh, yeah.
So when I had marks on my arms, when I went to see my mom, which I stayed away from her during my addiction, and I didn't have my daughter then, but I would have a few bruises on my arms and I would wear long sleeve shirts. So she would never know. Like, and when I got out of prison, she was like, why can't Julie be paroled here? And they're like, Julie has a drug addiction. She's like, not Julie. And they're like, yes, Julie. And I hid it too very well. I never saw her when I wasn't like looking good, went fake tanning, like everything for the day. I had a system.
Yeah, I did too. I worked very hard at looking good. and hiding it. And I wore a lot of cologne, and I always did myself blow dried the hair, dressed to the T, just even though on the inside I was feeling like shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Dressing
oh
for
my
success
God.
will do it.
But I would show up and I'd act all peppy and let's go, let's do it, and inside I'm just like, oh, get this day over with, please, dear God.
Yeah, it took a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
It took work.
It took so much work.
And holidays, like I would go and spend holidays hiding this, but going over and saying, yeah, we're going to make some Scotch sours, whatever. But I would be very careful about how much I drank there in front of family all the time. Christmas Day, then I was going out to clubs at night after I left them, like, okay, bye. And it was just this pattern. And when I told my mom that I was in recovery, she's like, oh my, you hit it so well. That's not good. It's not good. We didn't see it. So it's interesting, Julie, how you say that. She's like, and I said, I know, Mom, you knew everything that went on from day one for all of us. She said, yeah. And for you to be able to do that, I said, yeah, I was manipulative with myself too.
Yeah.
It was just this kind of, I was thinking I was okay. So how I'm going to make you think that too. And that's kind of, right? That internal mechanism. Yeah. Present well, always got it together enough to do, and then felt exhausted.
Oh,
because it took a lot of
and
freaking
my mom
work.
had some serious expectations. Like it was not acceptable to show up looking raggedy. Okay. At all. And my mom, despite being a drinker, always looked good. When they told her she was dying, we went and got her hair done and her nails done because she told me she wanted to go out looking good. I'm just saying, and her nails were flawless and her hair was flawless when she died. Being a bartender, her money was on her look good. And she was even the belle of the ball at 60, like for real, like men at her knees. And just crazy stuff. But I think our look good and the expectations. And I will tell you, when you don't have your look good, that's really when you need to worry. When you look a hot mess and you let yourself get that way. Yeah. Whoosh.
That's even worse.
It is.
Yeah. I think back to now that you're saying that, to my dad saying, comb your hair at the table. And you know what? And then part of it's like, and maybe that was his way. I hadn't thought of that, of just, I'm going to show up and look okay. And if I look okay, everyone's going to think I wasn't drinking. Right.
Yeah, my mom was like that for every big event too.
Yeah.
Like for my first communion and stuff like that, because the whole family was there. Our look good was really important. And she always wanted to look good for her family. Yeah, it's crazy. You don't think of it until later. But I also think that was a big weakness for me, even up to the time when we met, because at that particular job, right? When I was at Sprint, my boss knew I was going to the meeting on Friday. Okay. It was not a secret. And when I started at Sprint, I was only 4 years sober and I was only off parole for a little while. And so they knew. I had told her we were comfortable. We went out drinking and I would take the keys from her and told her, bitch, I am not drinking and you are not driving me, and she was a crazy driver, but I felt very comfortable being me. At the next job, which we never talk about, Joe, we never say the name because of my 12-page NDA. But at the next job, I didn't feel comfortable to be me. I didn't feel comfortable to say I was in recovery. I didn't feel comfortable. That's when we started calling my sponsor my dad, and it would come up in my phone, my dad. And I'd be like, oh, that's my dad. When he'd show up to work, oh, my dad's coming to visit, because I wasn't going to say this is my sponsor. That's when he became my dad for real. It's before I knew you. And I just never felt comfortable. And the look good was so important that it was just exhausting to be that person, that manager, to give you good numbers, to be successful, to be everything, and never just being like, I'm tired. I need to go to a meeting. It was exhausting.
It's interesting you say that, because it's that idea of keeping the gay private for a long time, keeping, now that I'm in the started the program for a long time, and then seeing people I knew, people I worked with in the meetings and be like, in my head, you better not say anything. This is anonymous. And then I thought, people should be proud that we're all here, period.
That's where I am now.
Yeah.
It took me
a long time.
I mean, I've been sober a long time.
Yeah.
But the one good thing is that my new job, I wear my recovery podcast shirt on Fridays.
That's great. I like
Okay. When I figured out they were sponsoring the GTD run, I was like, oh my God, they believe in something I do. And I'm just like, I'm going to do the podcast. I've been sober 28 years and I wear it like a badge now.
Yeah.
And you don't know where I've gone to get here.
Yes.
And how hard I've worked, especially the last 3 years, which is crazy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You'd think you'd have it together. You'd have it going. I always say this at the beginning. It was just enough for me to be sober and not be in criminal activity. Working for like fucking $18 an hour and paying taxes back then overwhelmed my brain.
Yeah.
I could make $5,000 a night and not pay any taxes. And doing it the right way and not earning that money in a month used to just piss me off for a while. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I think what you're talking about too, for me, is similar in that with time in the program, it just teaches you different things throughout your life. And for me, I know I hear people in the program say the program saved my life. It did. And it continues to. And I don't say that lightly because even meeting Julie and the group here in Portland, I think what's important to me is just finding out that even in those moments that are dips down with my career, now possible issues going on financially, I may have to make some decisions to move out or on to the next realm of life. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be 65. I have to decide that now? This is not a good time. And I'm like, you got this because you have sobriety. And I would never have said that, even in the beginning.
Same. I will tell you this last episode, just taking it one day at a time. Mm-hmm. Peter and I say this often because of Peter just going through cancer. You sometimes just, what can I do for today?
Yeah.
And honestly, IOP, and then go into all those night meetings and stuff and learning more than I ever learned about myself. But financially, I'm not where I want to be, especially after being off work for 9 months. I am definitely not where I want to be. Yeah. But guess what? I'm going to be sober no matter what. Okay. I'm going to continue to go to meetings no matter what, because that's what works for me.
Right.
You know, for me, it works. My foundation, like I harass Roger, daddy, but is he not always there? Peter's first treatment in the hospital.
Yeah, he was there. Mm-hmm.
Roger shows up and gets into probably a place you can't get to because he volunteered.
He volunteered there. Yeah.
And
was
Peter
really
was
cool.
like, oh my God, Roger showed up.
Yeah, that
and
was
I tell
pretty
you,
awesome.
He's solid.
Amazing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, these are the people I have in my life.
Yeah.
My sponsor.
Yeah.
So,
what I was thinking about too is the fact that I reconnect with my dad was absolutely amazing because as he aged, I managed to be there for him as well.
Wow.
And prior to even getting sober, but the relationship got much better for me when he was someone who couldn't hug, I didn't care at that point. I just hug him hello and goodbye, or hug him good to see you. Or when his wife got ill and was in the hospital, I hung out with him for a bit. But then I got to be able to connect with him at a moment where I'm like, no, Dad, that's not a good decision. Well, why? I'm going to do it. I'm like, no, you can't. You can't be alone anymore. And it became full circle. So at a point it felt, wow, I was sober to be able to do that. I was sober for my mom. I lost 2 siblings in the same year, like 12 years ago, same month. We had to break the news to our parents. One was expected, one was unexpected. I mean, all that crap. If it wasn't for this program, I would have been doing the shit I did for so long. And I'm not sure I would have made it.
Right.
I'm not sure I would have been alive. And again, I don't say that lightly.
Me too. I'm right there. And I'm so grateful that I was able to be there for my dad when he needed me at his end of life. And now I'm with my mom. I'm on call basically for my mom whenever she needs help with anything.
No, Peter is his mom's like apple. Okay.
Oh, that's great.
But I wouldn't have been there for that. And I don't know if I would have lived past my bottom that I had in Chicago. It was, dark.
I never thought I would lose my life, right? I'm being honest with you, but how would I have lived it?
I love that.
Criminality. We've had that podcast from Criminon. I will tell you, it was hard to get a work ethic. And then it was so important to me. Like the car that I bought with honest earned money was everything. You know, making the car payment was everything. Where I bought a car for cash with escort service money, and it didn't mean shit to me. And I had so much jewelry in my criminality. The only thing I wear is my ring from my sponsor, other than some earrings. But I think of how I would have lived my life and would I have been there for my child. And I will tell you, being sober, I've been there for my daughter, which has been a miracle.
Right.
She's never seen me high. My mother never saw me high. I never went around her high. And being there when my mom died, and we weren't close. We were close through my daughter, meaning I never took my daughter from her. She wanted my daughter on Wednesday nights. I did that. And I think living my life the right way, the last thing she said to me is, I know one thing we've done right. And she was like, we've done Cassandra right. And that was her way of saying, like, good job. You're a good mom. And doing everything she asked when she died, sending her ashes to my aunt so she could go back east. She wanted to be her ashes spread there, packing up her apartment, seeing her every day for 3 weeks. The doctor told her she had 3 weeks. And I took 3 weeks off of work. I had enough PTO that I didn't even have to miss a day.
Yeah.
And I think those moments make you proud that you can do it the right way. And it's not easy.
Right.
Oh, no.
The shit we go through in AA, I think, is so much more difficult than the shit we went through when we were using.
Yes.
Well, we had that buffer that when it worked, it worked.
Right.
When it didn't. But you were able to escape. At least that's how it was for me. I could just, too much pressure, too much this and that going on, drink it down and it would all go away. Until it came back viciously the next day or whatever.
Yeah, I was invincible. I thought I was a genius when I was high. Yeah, I really did.
You feel like you have the world, in your hand.
Yeah.
But then you realize, wow. And I guess, and Julie, to your point about your mom and Peter, what you just said, or even earlier today about how you feel in your stomach when thinking about it. I have to say, when I look back, my sister and I cared for our mom in her apartment for almost 2.5 years. So we spend shifts with work, both of us, back and forth, running.
Wow.
That was not easy because I was in the position that Julie knows about, which is a high-level, stressful administrative job. And what's interesting is I wouldn't have changed that. And then she had to go to a nursing facility, and we were there. I was there 4 days a week. My sister was there like 3. My brother came when he could. He owns his own business. And those are moments that I really value so much. As exhausted as we all were, I never would have been able to do that drinking. And I would have regretted those moments. As exhausted as I was crawling at points, as we know, that happened, whether it's a kid, you're taking care of elders. And then I was thinking, when Julie was driving here, I had a flash. Julie is like, just go with the flow today. But those moments I think back to where I was in situations where threatening situations. Like remember being in Florida, like it just was like, here I am talking about my mom being there. And then I think back to those times, which, wow, I don't want to be there again. I cut someone off driving, I don't know, in a blackout. And he came back around, stopped the car right in front of mine, got out with a gun and said, today's your lucky day. Are you out of your mind? You almost kill me. And it was in the hood. I'll call it the hood. It was in a drug area. It was where guys were to hang out. And
I saw that 4 weeks ago on Powell.
Where is it? Oh,
Just down the street. I was coming from Safeway and a guy cut in front of a guy. And I let them both go in front of me because I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And the guy was on a motorcycle and the guy got out of the car, pushed the motorcycle over and got a knife out of his car. And I'm calling 911 and I'm reading them the
Wow.
license plates. And the lady's like, what is he wearing? I'm like, I just gave you the license
How do
plate.
I know?
I don't want this guy to see me on my phone. And it was just insane. But you don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know.
And the fact I'm there in a neighborhood that I knew but I was in a blackout.
Crazy.
And I lived. And that was earlier on in sobriety. Those are the moments where I never want to go back to. But if I stay in the program, and Julie, you said earlier, you don't want to remember things. I don't want to remember that night, but I kind of want to remember that night. But what was so weird about it is I kept going on looking for stuff to hang out with somebody.
Wow.
And there I was, even with the fear. The fear alone didn't scare me enough to go back to my hotel room or wherever the hell I was going.
No, I know. In the escort service, in the escort service, a couple women I knew died.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd think that would scare me, but I was smarter than them. I didn't involve drugs in any escort call, period.
Yeah.
Because that would make it messy. And I was smarter. Okay.
We all think that at some level.
I was smarter putting my money in the bank.
Right.
Okay. Come on now.
My mom would probably use the word conniving.
I would say manipulation. It was key.
It was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also in recovery, I mean, I'm glad I didn't have a sponsor for a long time. And Davey in our group is now my sponsor. I'm so grateful because there were lulls, like I said earlier, right, to the program sometimes that you go through, and to have someone that you can connect with.
And his program is strong, solid. And I will tell you, I knew Dave, right? But when he went through a breakup, that's when I was off work. And I really got to know him a lot better and really got to admire him.
Yeah. And
he gets up in the morning. I have his gratitude list by the time I'm waking up.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I've had a lot of people send me their gratitude lists, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't respond to all of them because, one, I'm not trying to be popular, seriously. Mm-hmm. And two, I want it to be sincere. Mm-hmm. You know, it started out with Phoenix, Marty, and Colette. Mm-hmm. And I've added a couple to them, Jonah, because Jonah's podcast changed my life. I think it changed both of our lives.
Yeah.
We went to the car and we were like, we're getting in a fucking car. Yeah. We got shoelaces.
That's
we get to do laundry in our house. It really, and you got to meet him.
Yes, I did, which was great the other night. We met
when we did his podcast. He was 10 months sober.
Yeah. And
he was so emotional. And he was so grateful to have a couple pairs of clothing because he had been homeless. Mm-hmm. And what he was grateful for, I took for fucking granted. Yeah. I'm being honest. Okay. And it changed my perspective on so many things. I'm going to tell you, title of a job wasn't important. I will tell you, money, I just need enough to pay my bills, but it doesn't make my world go around, though it's needed, you know?
Sure.
But I am grateful for clean clothes. And when nothing's going right, and I've been there so many times, I can be like, girl, you got groceries, clean clothes, a clean pair of shoes, and you might have an old ass car, but it's paid for and it works.
Right. Yes.
Like, what the hell? You got everything.
Yeah.
And I'm sober. Because I think if you're sober, I can lose everything tomorrow, but as long as I'm sober,
I can figure out what I need to do.
I can come up with plan A, then plan B, then plan C, and keep going.
Right.
Yeah. I never knew I had options without sobriety. This was my only option.
Agree.
Drink.
Agree.
Get trashed. That was my option.
Agree.
And it didn't have to be for good or bad reason. It just was. But it got worse if I had a reason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No,
it's crazy.
It truly is. You know, but sobriety and the steps also. Having a kind of almost like, I know they're action plans, steps, but having almost a prescribed.
It's a blueprint.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Jay-Z says he has a blueprint for success in his albums.
Yeah.
I'm going to flip that to AA.
That's true.
There's
Yes.
a blueprint for your life. And especially, and I don't preach AA to anyone, but I will tell you on the 10th step, when it says we continue to take inventory and we are wrong, we admit it.
Yeah.
Okay, we wouldn't have done that when we were drunk. I wouldn't have told you shit. Okay,
Right.
but that right there is the way to live your life. In a spiritual connection, it doesn't mean you have to get on your knees and worship God. You meditate to a mountain, you know? And that's helped you through recovery, like of all sorts of kinds. Right. And Peter is really big on this mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I'm at work on the 11th floor, I see the mountain. And the first day I saw it, I was like, Peter, right? And this mountain, which really didn't mean shit to me. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm like, Peter, I see this mountain. Peter, this
the
mountain.
mountain's always present. It doesn't care about the past that happened. It doesn't care about what weather storms are coming. It's in the moment.
That's beautiful.
And that's my symbol to me, that I need to be the mountain and be in the moment, be right here, right this minute.
It's like the grounding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when I go up there in the
amazing.
morning before work, it grounds me now. Like I've been reading a book on meditation too.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to quiet my brain. I'm just telling
I'm there
you.
with you, Julie.
Look, but there's two things I've learned. Meditation can be your gratitude list because you're putting through good stuff, right? And what you're grateful for. And Colette told me, and I love this, that is the way she meditates. And I appreciate that. I can go up in the morning now and center myself with the mountain and everything and just start my day and be like grateful. My job might not be perfect, but it is perfect. Does that make sense? And it's perfect for me. I have realized I still don't like the commute. Okay. I'm never going to like the commute. Okay. But I'm proud of where I work. And hasn't been for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I'm proud of the people I work for and work with. That hasn't been for a while.
Yeah.
And it's humbling because I feel like I'm starting over at 60, but I'm starting over stronger than I have ever been. And I'm so grateful I wasn't working the night that I called you when the news came on.
Yeah.
That was like a moment for me. I don't think people will ever understand because I don't go into depth about it. But I've never seen a client from the escort service ever because I've never seen anybody from my previous life. When I came to AA, I changed everything in my life.
Yeah.
Like I didn't trust anyone.
Sure.
My first friend was my first sponsor and he's 76. He's gay. He don't want to sleep with me. Like all he wants is for me to be sober.
Yes.
And it's really crazy. But so I've never had to deal with it. And a news story came on and it was one of my clients. And I was brilliant in the escort service. I got out of sleeping with people all the time. I literally only had to sleep with someone 13 times. I have it etched out. I hate the number 13. It might be Taylor Swift's favorite number. It's not mine. And this person that I couldn't get out of it with came on the news.
Wow.
And they're famous. And I never thought I would see this. And I was devastated because I had never had to deal with it. And luckily, I'm in IOP.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the therapist the next day. And I call Peter, my sponsor's out of town. And I'm like, you're never fucking going to believe this.
Yeah.
You just don't know
You
when
don't.
and what you're going to go through.
You really don't.
You don't. And I will tell you, that was probably one of the hardest things because it just opened all these ugly memories. And it was just
a flurry of stuff.
Flurry of stuff.
Right?
And then my doctor said there had been another person in this story who was like me. And she died. She got into drugs. She went to prison and she was just a young girl. And it was almost identical to my story, except for she didn't make it. And Like
Wow.
I'm part of 8%
Mm.
that make it.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
what are the chances? And so I don't take that for granted anymore.
Right.
I don't. I think for a minute I took my sobriety for granted.
Mhm.
And I think if you do, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you think you got it all together and you don't need to grow, I think you're wrong.
Yeah, challenge that, right?
I challenge that.
Julie, I think what you said, and I think this is what helped me so much at those Zoom meetings. So zooming in from
I love Zoom.
I think when Julie was going through her stuff at work, it was
I was
kind
in
of,
tears.
and I was pretty emotional myself. But the thing that was interesting is you managed to help me focus on, I don't know how we got into this, probably an after meeting. I love the place I work for because I've been there a long time. I just didn't like the position because of circumstances, let's say. And I think you helped me refocus, like, overall, has your
Sometimes
career
less
been
is
good?
more.
Yeah. Has your career been good? Yeah. It's been great there. And that helped me. And I just want you to know that, because I don't know how we got into a dialogue one night or during a meeting. And I was like, Julie's right. You didn't even ask me. I think we were just talking about, you like what you do, though. Yeah. And I was like, holy crap. Yeah, this is, and yet I was so wrapped up in those moments, those few years. This is horrible. I hate it.
Me too.
And then suddenly I was like,
And I
okay.
went through IOP and went back, like
Yeah.
thinking that I could handle it, right? That I'm better now. My ear's better, right? I think I can handle it. I went back and did not miss a day of work. And I was exhausted in my brain again. And I was like, this isn't going to work. And it doesn't
Yeah,
matter
right.
how much money you pay me.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how bougie the title is. And Peter had gone through a similar experience.
Yeah.
And we talked about this all the time. And Peter got vindicated. And the day he did, he was like, it took years, but
He got what he got.
yeah. And
Finally.
sometimes you just have to get out of a situation that's unhealthy.
Yeah.
And for me now, it is to protect my brain
Yeah.
as much as it is my recovery.
Same.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I think that's why we clicked. And Peter, it's good to hear that you are also in that place too.
Right.
We
Yeah.
bonded over that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge thing. And if it wasn't for recovery, I would not even be aware
Yeah, me neither.
of those moments.
Or how to handle it.
Or how to, yes.
Yeah.
How to
I remember
handle it.
praying for you with your meeting, like you're going to meet and make a decision. I was praying for him, and I'm like, I understand. And I was like, for me, I got to leave.
Yeah.
But it's because I didn't have the option to step down,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
It was either go or stay.
Yes.
And honestly, when I got laid off, I'm sitting there with HR and they're like, I know this is devastating. And I'm like ready to fucking do a mariachi dance, right? And we're going to pay you to leave. Fucking A, are you serious? I didn't know it would take me as long to get a job.
Right.
And I will tell you, we focused on the podcast and
Mm-hmm.
it helped me process so many memories that came up.
Mhm.
That's great.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
like therapy. It was
Mhm.
like therapy in itself. Like I don't have to cry like I did have to cry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
'Cause
crazy.
it comes full circle, like we said earlier, in a way where you could respect where you were and where you are now.
The other thing, you're here from New York.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And do you feel like you're part of your family?
I do.
Like,
I mean,
what a fucking gift.
I show up Friday. Julie, you've been like, Julie's been my media consultant. Everyone knew Joe was, but I will say that being connected on Zoom and then meeting people, and Peter, I don't know you, but just meeting the love, the gratitude I have is so immense. It always has been, but showing up and coming in, meeting Dave, who I asked to be a sponsor, but just feeling that feeling of warmth. But the idea is people really do care. It's not just this superficial
do.
crap.
They do.
And they are there for you.
Yeah.
They are there for me when a lot of other people wouldn't be per se. And not
Yeah.
because they wouldn't be there because they don't love me, but they don't understand.
Yes.
And
that's it.
though my extended family understands, and I can say whatever is on my mind, and someone in there's going to be, hey, got you.
Yeah.
And the thing about that, right? Like Miss Lindsay asking your address to send a card to Peter.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was so touched. And Lacey, and I saw her today. I brought her a bucket hat. Okay, a new one. But I just, the connections, it's crazy. It's insane.
And from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess when I met everyone on Friday, it was this overwhelming joy, but it was also like, I know you guys. It was just that kind of,
Well, and the fact that you got to sit by Jen L.,
yes,
who's one of the only people that was at that table that hasn't been on the podcast. Just putting that out there, Jen. I've been with Jen for 28 years. I've known Jen longer than I've known anybody in sobriety that's alive, except for Scott C., maybe. And it's crazy because, like she says, she's known me half her life.
Wow.
Because I don't hang out with anybody from the past.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely insane. And honestly, if it wasn't for Jen, there would be no extended family.
Well, thank you, Jen.
And extended family,
Yeah.
I've always been a part of Lunch Bunch, but extended family saved me, helped me process because of IOP. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah.
Me too.
We are getting to the end here. And usually we ask, is there anything, words of wisdom, if you will, that you would share with others out there who may be struggling or who are having trouble with the program? Your story in itself is going to be inspirational, no doubt, but anything that comes to mind.
First, I want to thank you both. This has been amazing just to sit back and kind of think about the level of respect I have for AA and you all as friends and people in the program. I would say never give up hope. For me, that's worked. Never give up hope. And when I say put sobriety first, I've only known that by being in the program. Because if I put it first, I have people that care about me. And I think you said, understand me.
Yes.
Like no other place. Like I can leave an AA meeting and go back into my other life, whatever that is, work or something, and say, this is a place that I have that I could always go back to wherever I am. People get me. When you use those expressions, built-in forgetters, when your mind doesn't work right, when you all get it. And I think keep coming back to program, even if you're struggling, because it really does help. And that those little sayings, one day at a time, and they really matter. Keep it simple. They matter so much to me still.
It is. I have to keep it one day at a time.
Yeah.
And that's with everything. I'm just with I'm getting in my cancer recovery. I have been on the verge of frustration because I want to be better and I don't feel better, right? But that's one of those things I'm like, just for today, just for this moment, get through that nausea and the next hour it'll be better, and the next hour, if that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And I can apply that to all kinds of things, these principles that I've learned.
Yeah. You can apply it to everything. I'm going to tell you, when I started the new job, I was fucking overwhelmed beyond. Yeah. And I was like, just get through today. Just get through tomorrow. Just get through fucking training. Then it was just make it to work from home, right? Just keep showing up. And your journey has been inspiring to me, Peter.
Oh, thank you.
You've handled it with a lot of grace. You might not think so, but you have.
And special thanks, Peter. I know it's a trying time, but even getting to meet you and what you do.
It's been my pleasure. For
the recovery community. And Julie, you as well. This has been absolutely amazing. And I really do need to listen to all those podcasts now.
Yeah. I talk about you, Peter, at the nighttime meeting a lot. You don't know it. I've been in tears.
Good, right?
It is. And I've been in tears. I'm like, I have no right to bitch my podcast partner. And I'm like, I'm worried. And you don't even know. I talk about you all the time at night.
For that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Come back anytime you're this West Coast.
Absolutely will.
I think you're going to now. I think you're going to be making a visit out here.
I think so.
Yeah. I
think
love
so.
it.
Thank
Okay,
you both.
well, this is Julie
And Peter,
and Joe.
from the Real Recovery Podcast.
thanks for listening.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks to each and every one of you for lending us your ears and hearts. Your engagement is what fuels our passion and keeps this podcast thriving.
We cherish the moments we share here and hope they resonate with you, whether you're on a daily commute, at the gym, or just taking a moment for yourself.
Make sure to head over to our website at realrecoverypodcast.com. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter for the latest insights and uplifting stories from our community delivered straight to your inbox.
Click that subscribe button on your favorite podcast player too, so you can keep up with every new episode. It's your support that keeps our conversation alive and meaningful.
And if our stories have touched you, consider using the donate button on our site. Your contributions, no matter the size, are deeply appreciated. They help us continue our mission of sharing hope and healing.
Join us beyond the podcast and follow our journey on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and on X, formerly known as Twitter. All the links are on our site, so you can stay connected and be a part of the Real Recovery community every day.
Your likes, shares, and comments not only spread the message of recovery, but also remind us that we're all in this together.
So, until we meet again, remember that recovery is a journey, not a destination, and we'll be here to accompany you every step of the way to recovery, real recovery.
Thanks for listening.